which means it's time to run it back. Take a look at what the NBA week was like, and that's what we're going to do. A little different tonight. Those of you who have kind of stopped by and checked out what we do here know that I'm not a big fan necessarily of doing this on my own. I think the real value in having a show is to communicate with somebody, to talk to somebody. That's what I enjoy doing. And I think that's what I enjoy listening to, right? Just conversation back and forth. That's a lot more fun than just listening to somebody. Listening to somebody kind of, I guess, reminds me of school. And I don't need to be reminded of school. But it's just me today. So we're going to bounce through all of our topics pretty quickly. And we'll just go from there. I want to keep our streak alive, man. I think we've been on every single week since the restart or the start of this NBA season. And we're going to keep that going through the All-Star game and beyond. So we're Peach Basket. We're a site dedicated to basketball. We are just fans. I don't want to say just. I mean, we're fans. We're passionate fans who really enjoy the game and know the game and like to write about the game. And if you are one of those people, if you count yourself in that category, we want to hear from you. Our site's growing. Real personally, before I get into the topics of the day, this was a crazy week. Our site has grown. We're posting great content. One of which, one of the pieces we're going to talk about today. We're covering about half of the NBA teams, and the hope is to cover them all. So again, if you are a fan, if you're passionate about the NBA in general or a particular team, and you want a place where you can write about it, talk about it, reach out. We're going to continue to grow because it's fun. We have a lot of fun just talking basketball with each other and with y'all. So that's a little personal recap of the week for us. It's been stupid busy, but on we go. Excited to be here. Let's recap the week really, really quickly. Got 4 topics to discuss today. Again, we're going to go really quick because there's nobody to bounce ideas off of. It's just me. So you're just going to get my opinion. Let's start with, and in the order y'all might have seen in our little introduction. I want to start with the NBA logo discussion. It's been brought up before. It's not anything new. It's been Jerry West since as long as I can remember. I think as long as the NBA had a logo, it was Jerry West. That's his silhouette, which is why he's called the logo. He has done some amazing things in this game, not just being, not the face, but the silhouette, the logo of the NBA. He's a world champion, a Hall of Famer. He's built great teams just about everywhere he's gone. He's got like the Midas basketball touch. And what is impressive to me is, a lot of the people that do this, play basketball at that level, have a little bit of a selfish streak. I think you got to be a little selfish if you're going to be great at just about anything. But Jerry West has said, listen, man, if it's time to change the logo, he's fine with it. To me, it starts and ends there. Well, I shouldn't say it ends there, but it certainly starts there. Jerry West is ready for a new logo. That's exciting. Of course, Jerry West had a lot to do with bringing Kobe Bryant into Los Angeles. He's very close to Kobe Bryant. So the thought of, Jerry West stepping aside so that Kobe Bryant could be the logo for the next 50 to 100 years. It's pretty neat. My gut tells me it'll likely happen. I think some purists, I haven't heard anybody say they weren't into it. They weren't excited about the idea. If you are, I'm curious to hear your thoughts. But to me personally, I'm kind of apathetic. I like the idea. I think it'd be neat. If it doesn't happen, that's okay. But having watched Kobe live, being blessed enough to gotten to do that, and actually, when he passed, I went down to Staples, and that was a part of that impromptu, time honoring him. It was amazing. And so for it to be Kobe is kind of neat. But, personally, I'm not tied to it one way or the other. But my gut tells me it's going to happen. And I would love to hear from NBA fans. I imagine somebody has already asked and written this article, but I think it'd be great to find out the consensus. Are you ready for a new NBA logo? Are you ready for Kobe Bryant to be that logo? I'm good with it. Would love to hear your thoughts. I said earlier that we're a site dedicated to basketball. Bunch of fans just talking ball. It's what we do. One of our writers, one of our contributors recently wrote an article about NBA rivalries. And it was good. It got a lot of conversations going internally and I'm sure externally because of what he wrote. The general principle was this. Back in the day, decades ago, right, there were rivalries in the NBA. They're all rivalries in the NBA today. What's different about them is back then, when you played a team that was your rival, you really didn't know the players that well. You knew about them. You've heard of them. You saw them, especially East-West, you saw them once a year or twice a year on their home court and your home court. And there was a real dislike between some of these guys. The picture in that article was the clothesline that Kevin McHale put on Kurt Rambis, just to kind of give you an idea. And so he just talks about, how those rivalries were passionate. They were different. The minute, Kevin McHale did that to Kurt Rambis, he said, game on, right? It just, everything changed. And he makes a point of saying in his article, listen, I'm not advocating violence. That's not what I'm about. But he misses that passion, right? In today's game, he goes on to say, these players have been playing since AAU ball. They know each other, man. Across the board, they know each other. It's not like they're just seeing each other. They might not see each other for a while, but, they see each other. They like each other. And it's harder, to have that kind of rivalry with somebody you really enjoy, somebody you like. I play basketball with guys I like, and I get that. I understand that. It's a little different. I don't think I've ever played basketball with somebody I didn't like, though. So I guess that might be a little different. But it's a very interesting article, and again, it got some conversation going. And would love to hear your thoughts. Right today, probably Lakers Celtics is probably the biggest rivalry there is still. Maybe in basketball, and when those two teams play, there's no dislike. There's no edge, and he misses that. It's an interesting topic, something I've not really ever considered, never really thought about. But having been around, having watched those games and watching these games, I can absolutely see it. Last week we talked about whether the three-point shot was ruining the game. I think it's the same kind of conversation. Is the three-point shot ruining the game? Or friendships in the NBA ruining rivalries? Interesting conversation. You can read about that at peach-basket.net. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had a big night. First Thunder player this week. Well, he had a big night this week. He's not the first Thunder player this week. But he had a 40-point night. First Thunder player since Russell Westbrook to have a 40-point night. Win over the Spurs. And knowing that he came here, I'm an LA guy, for those of you who don't know, came from the Clippers and was part of that Paul George trade. I wonder, you trade great young players for a proven asset, proven resource, a proven player because you want to win a championship. It's really why you do it. You're not going to give up somebody with incredible potential, to be one and done or to get to the Western Conference Finals, which the Clippers have never done. Think about the Lakers, right? The Lakers gave up a lot of good young talent. Brandon Ingram is an all-star. Jordan Clarkson is likely sixth man of the year. Alonzo Ball is, proven to be who the Lakers thought. Maybe not as good, but a very solid player. They gave all of that. They gave up all of that for AD, but they won a championship. Mission accomplished, man. Mission accomplished. So now you look at the Clippers. They gave up Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's dropping 42 on the Spurs, leading his team at such a young age. No championship last season. Paul George said after last season, we're not in this for one and done. We're in this for the long haul. So, it'd be interesting to see. You'd never know how a trade, who won the trade until after, years after it's over. But if the barometer is I traded all my young assets to get a championship, the Lakers won their trade. Clippers right now haven't. And it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. With Shai continuing to have those kind of nights, is rough. And I think it's got to kind of hurt a little bit, Clippers and Clipper fans, because they know that right now they haven't reached their apex. And their apex is not the Western Conference Final, understanding they've never been there before. That can't be all they want. And I don't think it is. They want the Larry O'Brien. So we'll see. I think the Clippers have got the most riding this season. If they don't win it, and it can't be just about getting there. They got to win it. Could be pretty devastating for that franchise. There was an article recently about 5 players on the move. We're getting close to the trade deadline, March 25th. So we're starting to hear all these rumors, and we'll hear them now for weeks on end. I kind of have a love-hate relationship with trade deadline. Some of these trades are dumb, they're silly, and often they never come to pass. So the article was, and there's quite a few. This one was 5 players most likely to move. I've seen 10 players most likely to move. You Google it, you'll find something. I don't want to get into all of them, but one of the players I've seen more than once show up, it was kind of shocking to me, is Porzingis, Kristaps Porzingis for the Mavs. When he came over from New York, he was, that looked to be a marriage made in heaven, right? Luka and Porzingis. 7'2", can shoot from 3. The guy's amazing, but it's wild to see. He didn't fit in New York. Maybe he's not fitting in with the Mavs. Sometimes, and that's what's so difficult, I think, about building a team, about being a general manager. On paper, that looks like a great team. Those 2 players, that looks like a dynamic duo. To me, James Harden and CP3, marriage made in heaven, at least from a talent perspective. Who knows what that locker room was like? I don't know. But you got the greatest point guard in the world, with the greatest scorer in the world. That just, that just seems like a marriage made in heaven. But sometimes these things just don't work. And, you got to hope for Porzingis' sake that, should he move on, that the next one sticks. He's only 25 years old. And he's just, an incredible talent. And I was shocked to see his name on the list. Some of the others, Aaron Gordon, kind of makes sense. Kyle Lowry, Toronto's underperforming this year. That makes sense. Even Kelly Oubre, who showed up on the list too, although he's been playing really well lately. But Porzingis shocked me. I was surprised to see him on the list, and really surprised to see him move on. And there's no way the Mavs are going to just let him walk or trade him for scraps. Luka's good, but we all know in the NBA, one great player isn't enough. You need multiple. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Trade deadlines are always interesting. That's all I got for you, man. Nice and easy, quick, because it's just me. Hopefully next week we'll have more people to jump on and talk to me and to you, because that's the real value of it. Once again, we're Peach Basket. You can find us at peach-basket.net. We talk basketball. That's who we are. That's what we do. Thanks for joining us. This has been Run It Back, NBA Week in Review. We'll talk again next week.